Forget everything you know about tarot. You don't have to be psychic. You don't have to memorize all 78 cards. And you don't even need to believe in the spiritual or the woo-woo to use tarot for decision making. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. Hi, I'm YQ. I teach tarot for decision making, and I'm also getting my master's in AI and innovation. So trust me when I say you definitely don't need to believe in the woo-woo to use tarot cards. So let's clear something up about tarot, okay? Especially the way I use tarot. It is not about fortune telling. It doesn't predict a fixed future. It is not about psychic abilities. You don't need to have special powers. And it's not about mystical energies, okay? So each of these are just pieces of paper. So how are we using tarot in a modern way? I use it for decision making. So what it is, it's a tool that helps trigger your subconscious so that it tells you the things that you didn't want to admit to yourself, and it brings it to the forefront so that you kind of have to admit it. Think of it like this. So when you're talking about problem to your friend, and then you talk, and then suddenly while you're talking, you kind of like see the connections and then answer your own questions because you verbalized it because you had someone to bounce things back to you. So that's how we're going to use tarot when it comes to using tarot for decision making. And in this video, I will show you how you can use it on your own, even if you don't know the meanings yet. Okay, so let's go. So you might be thinking, okay, if I don't need to memorize the cards, like, and then what sort of skills do I need to read tarot as someone who's a beginner, and then also tarot for decision making? What skills do you need, right? So I'm gonna just pull one card, and then we're gonna do this live. I'm not sure what card it is, and then this is the skill you need, okay? Okay, I really personally I do not like the court cards, but here we have the court cards today. So the skill you need to read tarot basically is being able to tell a story, and let's just tell a story based on this, okay? So usually what you want to do when it comes to tarot reading is to have a question so that you can apply this to your question. But since we don't have any now, let's just look at the card. I'm already having some stories with it, even though personally I do not like court cards because I'm never sure what they are referring to. But I think that this is a really good card because I'm recording this on January 1st, which is the first day of 2026, and it's giving good energy, okay? So this is a card about a person. So the problem with the old traditional tarot cards is that a lot of it's very gender bound, but it's a man. But it can be a woman, it can be anyone, it can be anyone. They're on a horse, they have a stick. Okay, what is a stick? So then some of the key like basic things you want to know about tarot. So for example, one's about passion, creativity, and like energy, right? So then okay, if we apply it here, this person is on a horse, the horse is like nay, and then they're about to like charge, but then they're about to charge. I don't know horse language, but so then I'm seeing this as someone who is just pulling this card. Is like I'm seeing this. I don't know whether what you're seeing as well. So look at the card, think about what you see, and then let me know. Look at the colors as well. Okay, so red's like passion, etc. Okay, so what I'm seeing based on the card is that so I'm just gonna look at. I don't know whether to look at the camera or the card in the video, but yeah. So this is a person on a horse, right? So I'm like, okay, this is me, and then I have this horse that I have so much energy that I want to go into 2026 with all this energy, with all this courage and spontaneity, like that's the word that came out. And then of course holding on to what I believe in, the stick, which is my passion, which is my creativity. I want to have that energy going into 2026. So that is basically a skill. If I don't know about your education system where you came from, but in like primary school or even like middle school, it's like the teachers have like a story, like composition writing. You got to look at the picture and then you have to tell a story about the picture. So what tarot for decision making is looking at the pictures, getting inspiration from the deck, and then telling stories from it, and then telling stories and then applying to the question that you have. So I didn't have any question, but I already saw some like advice that I can take from the tarot cards, like to embrace this me, to see that, hey, you know what, I do have this energy going to it. And then speaking of that, right? So suddenly it came out to me as well is that this is not really, I guess it is about my tarot stuff that I'm doing more now, but it's also about a card game that I'm working on. So creativity, passion, right? So I'm working on a card game. So it's also like encouraging me to just pursue this card game thing, at least get the first set done, and then I can go chase other things. So that is the skill. That's the skill to look at pictures, tell stories. So you look at the picture, you notice the details, and then your brain makes connection because your brain is amazing, and that's what tarot helps you do, to make connections to your life, to whatever people have said before, to the situation or they're talking about, so that you can make better decisions. So your subconscious is really great at pattern recognition and just looking at a story, you can link different things. So what happens is that tarot is not telling you what to do, but it's your brain telling you what to do. And I think that is also something that we lack sometimes when it comes to like the modern ages. We sort of outsource our questions to other people. In the past it was other people, then we start outsourcing into like AI, right? So I have a video where like, don't ask AI tarot readings, don't use AI for decision making, not because of the ethical stuff, but it's more like you're asking a third party that might not know you so much. So there's a video there. I'm gonna link it somehow. I go check it out. Okay, so you kind of know like the skills to read tarot, right? Then you're kind of like, okay, how does tarot for decision making works, and then how do you use it, right? So I'm gonna tell you a story about how I I think the cards are working when it comes to using tarot for the decision making. Okay, so this is my theory. So imagine you're driving down the road, and then there's a left, and then there's a right. It's like, okay, I don't know where to go, and then you ask the tarot cards, or you don't really ask. You use tarot to see which path might be better. And then one path might say, let me just pull one card. One path might say this, and then the other path is saying this. Oh wow, both cards are not great. Okay, so these two paths that we're talking about, let me see. So for you, this. Okay, for you this is left, and then for you this is right. So if you're asking tarot, which path should I be going, and then these two show up. The left card, right? It's like, okay, if you go down this path, you are sort of daydreaming, you are actually not making a choice. But if you go down the other path, you're sort of like trapping yourself and then not willing to ask for help. So these two pictures, what they're showing you is that what might happen based on whatever situation is happening now. So whatever tools you have in your pocket, whatever like experience levels you have, what might happen if you go down the path. And then guess what? You can make the choice. You can say, you know what? I understand that if I take this route, I might be daydreaming. So what should I do? I should take action. I should really make something happen. And you're like, you know what? I'd rather go on this route. If I'm seeing this where I'm like a self-victimization, then what can I do? I can be more bold. I can ask for help. I can know that whatever is trapping me is not really trapping me. And these are just some of the ways that tarot for decision making works. So it's kind of trigger something inside you. And I think sometimes what is interesting as well is that even if a card, right, shows you, right, this path is amazing, but in your heart you're saying, I don't want it. That is also a decision making point, because that is what your heart deep inside wants, and that is maybe you should make the choice based on what you really want versus like what the cards are showing. Okay, so the cards don't tell you a fixed future. You are the one who get to choose which path you want to pick. They show possibilities, not destiny. Yeah, so just remember, you pull the cards, you look at the cards, you interpret them. You still have the agency to make things happen, right? So in the long run, whatever it is, you are the one with the power to make choices to make things happen. So here's the method of how to read tarot for decision making, okay? So number one is setting the question. The question is very, very important, okay? So the way that you want to frame your question is less about what will happen and you just sit there for things to happen. It's more about, okay, what choices do I have when it comes to a particular situation? So if you're like, oh, what will my love life be? So instead of that, we can ask, what should I be doing? And then it could be this, it could be that. Or you can even ask like, which app should I be using? And then you read from the card. So make it more that you have the agency, make it more that you have the choice to make things happen, and less about like being like, okay, I'm in the back seat of my life. And instead of, how's my career going to be in 2026? You can ask, is there some growth potential when I stick with my job, or is there no growth potential? You can ask it that way so that it's more useful as well, instead of seeing that this is what's gonna happen, and then okay, if it's amazing, you're like, okay, then I don't need to do anything, and then it just breaks whatever you've been working on already. So then it just makes it not great as well. So do remember that we do have to put in work to make things happen. Okay, there are some people whose life might be like amazing without needing to do anything. If you're watching this video, I don't think that's us, and it's okay as well, because it just adds flavor to us being human beings. Okay, so step two is let's just make it easy. Okay, so let's just make it easy. This is tarot for decision making. The easiest would be like, should I do this or should I do this? Okay, so let's say my card game thing, right? So should I? Let me think. I would like to know whether I should. I really want to. So that's one thing as well. Whether I should like really invest in making the final product. So this is more because now currently I'm in the beta mode. Everything is printed on paper. I write on it, and it's all beta, like alpha testing mode. So I want it to be good, but then I'm also like, should I put in money when it actually works, and I should I, put in money, make at least one set, and then be happy with it, or should I just, finish it and that's it? Okay, so this is I should like really really make it like a real product, and then the other side is that, what, this is for fun. We can finish it when it is at the last stage of a beta testing, and then it's good enough to go, and then it can just be, just regular paper. So this one is the formal, so I'm gonna keep it close. Okay, so what you want to do is that when you pull the cards, keep it close so that you don't want to distract yourself. Sometimes when you're pulling cards and then you look at it and then you're just distracting yourself before you look at the other card. So that was making it like formal. And the other one's like, what? It's a fun thing. Okay. So I've got two cards. Option A and option B. So on your end as well, if you have a tarot deck, think about a question where you can ask, A or B kind of situation, and you shuffle the deck and then you pull two cards. And what I recommend as well, right? So this is more advanced. Is like what I recommend is that when you're pulling the cards, do not just pull from the top. Do not just pull from the top, because what's happened here is that you might not shuffle it well enough, and then the patterns of whatever cards are coming out, it's more like already fixed. So what I want you to do is that maybe even spread out the cards, pull the cards. So for what I did was that I just pulled from the middle, and there's no wrong cards. Okay, so whatever you choose, sometimes when you're starting out tarot, it can be like, is this the right card, is that the wrong card? So I feel like there's no wrong card. Whatever card you pull is the correct one. It's not right or wrong, but it's just the one that you need. Okay, so this one, so I'm gonna reveal it as we go along. This one is to do it officially, and then this one's more like, what, do it for fun, do it for fun. Okay, and the step 3 now is that do not immediately jump into trying to find a book to confirm whether you're getting the reading right or wrong. Okay, so when it comes to tarot for decision making, when there's coming to choices, right, here's just a bit more advanced level things that you might not know, you might know, but I'm just going to share a bit of how I use when it comes to making decisions. Is that when there's a major arcana, so this justice is a major arcana, it has more weight. So it has stronger potential. Stronger potential for, yes, make it formal, and then this has lesser potential, but it doesn't mean that we discount it. It's more like, okay, when we're making choices, maybe the yes path for now, because it's a justice card, it's a major arcana, we think that, okay, maybe this is better, but you also double check whether the other one, how it works. And actually both cards still explains your situation. Okay, so both cards still give you information when you're making a choice. So now what you want to do is look at the pictures and tell stories. But so I feel that when it comes to major arcana, sometimes just the word is enough. So justice, maybe it's that it is the right thing. So this is like legally right. So maybe it's about, I've already put in so much energy, and then if I'm beta testing with so many people, they might even, like, hopefully, something comes up from it, and they're also excited for me. Not that I'm making a choice because other people want me to, but it's more like, what, I've done all this work, it's the correct way, it's the correct way to pursue. So this is more like encouraging me to actually formalize the deck. But this is saying no. And what I really like about these two cards in comparison is that one is saying that your brain says you should do it, and then the other one is like your heart says, once you finish this project, because it's the cups, right? It's the cups. So the cups is about the heart. So it's like, once you finish this project, when your heart is fulfilled, it is okay to let it go. So both are so, so fitting to my situation. Like, part of me is like, I want to do it. Part of me is also like, what, the process, the journey is the gift already. So in this situation is that both choices are valid, both choices are great. It's just that, do I want it to be more because, what, I think I should do it, or do I want it, you're happy and it's great, honey, you get that kind of energy. So for me, since I'm still in the testing mode, right? So I think I'll do a few more rounds testing, and then once I am quite sure of the gameplay, I would actually put in some money, and then making one set of playing playing cards is kind of expensive, but I'm willing to do that, to just pay one set of money to make one set of cards. It can be a limited edition. The whole world only has one, and then that is my board game that I maybe bring around to festivals, bring around to gatherings, and it can only be played when I am there. Okay, and unless someone pays me money and then they want to make it a franchise, then I'm okay with that. Okay, so that is how I recommend that you read the tarot cards, okay? And then you might say, what if my card comes out upside down? So when you're just starting out, just put your cards right back up, okay? Just put your cards right back up. Okay. So I think also, even though I said there was storytelling, right? So I think I jumped too fast into interpreting the King of Cups. So the King of Cups, you just look at the guy, right? He's just sitting there, so comfortable. And then when you look at it, this choice is about, comfort, and then just being there, sitting there. And then she's more erect and more like, oh. And then he's very comfortable. So it's more like, do you want to pick the correct route, or do you want to pick the more comfortable route? So it's just two comparison. And yeah, so if you already pulled your cards, also let me know in the comments what cards came up and how your interpretation of them are. And the cards aren't telling me what to do. I still get to decide. And then the funny thing is that both choices are valid, both choices are great. So just like, it depends on me. So I will go through, because this process isn't like, the question I ask isn't like immediate. Very rarely things in our life are immediate, like immediately we need to make a choice. Okay, so that's just something you have to know, and something to keep in your mind. So nothing is like immediately I need to do this, or else unless you're like the president, you want to press like the red button and the nuclear bombs blow out and stuff like that. It's not. So you get time to choose, you get time to process everything, you get time to see it blossom more before you make the real choice, the final choice. Okay, so that is also part of how tarot for decision making works, is that part of it is also experiencing. Sometimes the card can even just tell you nothing. It's fine, because at the moment you have not enough information to go on, and that is fine. So that is how I recommend that you can start tarot for decision making. You might have some questions, okay? You might have some questions about, okay, I'm just starting out, I don't know anything, and here are some questions that people have asked me. Question number one is like, what if I interpret it wrong? Or what if I'm trying to put the thing that I'm thinking to fit the situation and it's actually not what it means? Just relax, okay? And then when you're trying to say that I'm trying to fit this explanation into my situation, it's already your brain giving you the story of what you need to know about the situation. So it is part of the process. It's part of the process that is very scary, that you already know, and then you're like, wait a minute, the information came too quick. I don't think this is actually right. So that is part of the process that you need to learn, that you have to trust yourself more. This is just a process. You have to trust yourself more. You already knew the answer, and how can it be? How can it be that I already knew the answer? Because you already know. You already know. Okay, so trust the process. There's no wrong answer. However your subconscious interprets it, it is okay. Okay, and then this question can be that when I'm looking at the cards, nothing is popping up. Nothing is popping up. And there is sometimes you look at a card and it's just like, I really don't know what's going on. What's going on here? So either you can just, well, you know what? This reading doesn't matter, and then maybe it's not the right time for you to get to the answers of this. Or what you can do is just start describing things. Okay, this is a sword. It reminds me of, very, very sharp words, very, very, like very, very, it can be very painful. So maybe the process of doing this can be painful. And then, okay, she's sitting on a chair. She has scales, okay, she's balancing something. Maybe it is balancing my time, balancing my effort. And then when I'm making this decision, it should involve this as well. So you just look at one tiny detail, even just one tiny detail that grabs your attention. Look at it, tell stories from it. You can write it out, you can say it out loud, doesn't matter. So just one thing to focus on, to tell stories from there. And then it might trigger something more inside you. But in the end, if nothing really comes out, don't worry. It's a part of the process. Sometimes nothing comes out for me as well, and it's fine. It's just fine. We need to learn to be gentle with ourselves, to know that if we don't have the answer, it is okay as well. Okay, so don't worry about that. And then a question is that, do I need to know the traditional meaning? Okay, so this is pretty tricky. Okay, so I feel that to start tarot for decision making, you might not need it. But I do recommend that, once you figure out, what, I do want to continue with tarot, what I would recommend is to learn the traditional meanings as well, because I think part of the reasons why people think that I'm reading this wrong is that they also don't have the textbook meaning to just reaffirm what they thought they saw. So once you also have the textbook meaning, you kind of like, okay, this is the correct. No, I don't want to say correct now. So rewind that. So this is the traditional meaning, and you see whether the traditional meaning also applies to your situation as well. So it's like having two paths of knowledge inside you to interpret the card. So I don't see it as bad, because honestly, I do teach tarot meanings as well, but I do feel that number one is that you might not need it so soon, but number two is that do have it, because there are some people who go off the rails when it comes to reading a card, and then when they tell me it, I'm like, how do you see that? So maybe they did see something, but sometimes I just feel like they're just making it up. You don't know. And then there's this question: what if the cards show like really really bad stuff happening, or what if I get the death card? What if I get the tower card? Yeah. So I think that, in life, good things happen, bad things happen, and then we have to accept it as well. So if a bad card shows up, what you can do is that, okay, if something bad might happen in this situation, how can you do to help yourself if you come across it? What can you do to maybe, prevent it from happening as well? So for example, this is a very interesting example that I have, right? So I went on like a dating game show thing. So it's a live dating game show. It wasn't recorded, but before going on, I pulled the cards, would I have fun? Would I not, right? So I think I would have fun, but the death card showed up. And I'm like, oh, okay, what does it mean? So I think, so eventually, right, what happened on the dating show itself was that I was rejected, which is fine. But also, I was kind of like, you know what, this crowd isn't really my vibe. So like afterwards, I kind of saw it as, okay, the death card showed up, but it was more about like, you know what, this is a new experience for me, because death is like new beginnings, new experiences. So it is a new beginning, and then it felt really gross to me, because maybe it wasn't my thing, and then death is like killing off something, right? So I was like, oh, I didn't like it. So it also gave me some information. So even though the death card showed up, I still went, because I was like, I want to try this. So if a bad card shows up, I think it's okay to just accept it, and then to see, are there any ways that we can mitigate it? Are there any ways that, we can heal ourselves, care for ourselves after the bad thing happens? Yeah, and then finally is that the cards show possibilities, not fixed outcome. You still have the ways to make things better for yourself. So here's a nutshell how to use tarot for decision making if you're new. Number one, ask a decision question. Number two, pull the cards. Number three, you look at the cards and see how it applies to your situation. And then tell the stories that you see from it. And then use that story to clarify your decision. Yep, so I'm also working on a tarot for decision making course. It's gonna come in 2026. I'm not sure when, but if you're interested, just subscribe to the channel and then you'll get information when it does come out. I'm YQ, I teach tarot for decision making. I'll see you next time. Bye!